Sessions
with Sarah Schultz.
Hi everybody, it's Sarah Schultz here with Sunday Sessions episode number 6. So how's everyone's week been? Have you had another exciting week? So this week I decided what I would do is actually talk about the process of selling. Now I know everybody probably feels that they know what that is, but I do have some where they say to me they haven't sold or bought before, or it has been a really long time. So I just thought I'd really talk through it so that, you know, when you get to that point, it's not going to be new news. You will have some indication of what the process is. So this is going to be beneficial for both sellers and buyers. Some parts will be more for the sellers and then others will be both. So in Queensland, we have what we call is a Form 6, and the Form 6 is the contract that is between the agent and the seller. So initially, obviously, you would interview one or several agents depending if you had your heart set on someone already, or if not, you might interview a few and you'll look at the options of what they offer. They'll also talk to you about their commission and what their marketing costs are. And then all of that basically would get put on a Form 6 and you would sign the Form 6. Now legally, a person cannot advertise your property or talk to anybody about your property until one of these is signed. That includes even if they're going to their database. So you may get offered from someone to do a Form 6 to their database and then go live to the market, or it might just be straight live to the market, which is the most common way, is just straight to the market. So in that Form 6, it's going to talk to you about what commission and the marketing, and also it will talk to you about the 3 different types of listing appointments. So open listing is where you can list with several agents. Sole listing is where you sell and an agent sells. And then exclusives is where the agent of your choice is getting a certain period of time, usually 90 days, to sell your house exclusively, which I recommend and I think is the best way, but obviously you can choose the other 2 ways as well. I feel that's just the best way because sometimes I feel when people do open, it can sometimes come across as desperate, but to the market, to the buyers, but each to their own. Once that's all signed and the Form 6 is all done, basically they would organise to get your photographs done, and I highly recommend getting that done. So there will be some agents that will offer free advertising, which may not include, which means that they may take photos themselves. And I'm certainly not saying anything about anybody else. I'm just saying what I think, and I think it is extremely important to have professional photos. It's extremely important to make the house look as nice as possible, so that when you're getting that first impression online with the marketing you're investing, you're getting the best result and getting the most people out to your house. So basically you have your professional photos, they'll go live on the market. For us, realestate.com is our biggest market for bringing buyers. We'll also use Domain. Look, each agent will have like a variety of sites. They may also use Facebook and Gumtree and LinkedIn and their websites, and there'll be a variety of different marketing options and things that they'll do to bring in the business. And then you'll go to market. There are some agents that don't do open houses, and then there are some that do. I'm an open house agent. I do believe they have a place, and I think they work. I think they're great. It also is beneficial to you as a seller, because if you get several people at an open house at once, it can sometimes create that multiple offer situation. And also it brings people to the place at one particular time. Yes, you'll still get private inspections at other times that can't make open houses, but generally it gets everybody at that one time, which sort of can give that urgency, I guess, for the sale. Now, after people go through, every agent will be different in this process as well, but if a buyer comes through and they'd like to present an offer, some do offer forms that lead to the contract, and some just go straight to the contract. I'm an offer form person, just because I don't like messy contracts. I know it sounds stupid, but I hate like pen crossed out everywhere and everything. So the reason I do the offer form is really that's the only reason. so that if there are negotiations going between terms or price, I've got all the details to make up the contract. They've signed and committed to the offer. Once we come to the agreement, the contract gets drawn up and then both parties sign. Some real estate agents they just write in all the buyer stuff and they scribble out, and that's fine. There's no right or wrong, I don't think. That's just my preference. Now, once you've got the contract and you've accepted the contract, basically the terms will come. So sometimes a cash buyer may not do building a pest. Sometimes finance people might not do building pest, but most commonly, most people will do a building a pest within, say, a 14-day time frame. And then if someone's subject to finance, it could be anything up to 21 days. Banks have been really quite slow lately, so sometimes it can be up to 21. So if you see that, don't always be too scared. It doesn't mean that they're not good, especially self-managed super funds and self-employed people. It just takes a little bit longer, but if you've got that assurance that they're pre-approved or whatever, then it should all be fine. So then what happens next is basically the contract would get sent to the solicitor on both sides, yourselves. Those terms would be played out, so the building a pest would happen and the finance clause would happen, and letters would go across between solicitors saying the building a pest is now unconditional, and the same with the finance. Now, there are things that can happen along the way. So if someone does a building a pest on your house and they feel some of the items that will get brought up, because remember, every house will have stuff on the building a pest. There is not a house yet that has not had something, even when it's only 2 years old, because there's always something. Sometimes it could be just that they're saying, oh, it's 15 years old, you need a new termite barrier. But sometimes it's that, the gutters could be doing replacing. Every house has something, but it's the extent of that and whether or not it's an issue. So most of the biggest things that people have a problem with, obviously, are the obvious, which is termite damage or movement in the house. They're usually the things that will really either break a contract or make a massive price reduction. So if that does happen and you were unlucky and you were one of those people, the buyers may either pull out or they may say, go back to the solicitor and say, we'll still take the house, but the cost to fix the issue is going to be $15,000, $10,000, $5,000, whatever, and ask for a price reduction. And then your agent should talk to you about what is the best thing, is it good to take this now or is it best to go back to the market? Sometimes it can be too much and excessive, and sometimes it can be okay. You can also go back and negotiate that and say, no, we're not going to do that price, we're going to do this price. It goes back into negotiations, basically. But everything can still move forward from there. So from there, you would have also received along the way some stuff in the mail from the solicitors with regards to signing, documents as far as selling. One of the things I say is if you do have a mortgage on your property, make sure your discharge of mortgage papers are done well within 2 weeks of settlement, because it can really delay settlements if it's not done. So just chase your solicitor up if that hasn't been given to you, because it's really, really important. So let's say everything goes smooth, building a pest goes unconditional, finance goes unconditional, you'll have a settlement date. It could be 11 days from that time you found out it's unconditional, and it could be 3 weeks, could be 4 weeks. But either way, you'll get that date, and then from there, they'll give us a settlement time. Usually, sometimes you can't even get a settlement time until 3 or 4 days before, so don't be surprised if you don't have one straight away. The buyers are then entitled to what's called a pre-settlement inspection. So usually people do that on the day of settlement, because obviously they're wanting to look at the condition of the house before they move in. But again, sometimes in the perfect situation, they've moved out, they've cleaned the house, it's great. Other times, I've got one coming up where they're simultaneous. So the seller has to move out of the house and move into another one the same day. And the buyer's coming through to do a pre-settlement inspection while everything's all chaotic. So sometimes it is a little bit hard, but the buyer still would like to come, you know what I mean? So sometimes people will still be moving out of the house when that pre-settlement inspection is happening. But you just got to work with what's happening at the time and, allow the access, and, everything should run relatively smooth. So then you'd organise a handover with your agent. Now, if you're moving out that day, you might not give the keys over until literally settlement time because you needed them yourself up until, but if you're one of the lucky ones that were able to get out earlier, sometimes you'll do the handover with the agent of the keys, say in the morning. The agent holds onto the keys until settlement and then meets the buyer after they've got confirmation. So an agent will not hand over your keys to the buyer until they've got confirmation from the solicitor that it has settled. From the buyer's perspective, they'll come through probably the morning of to do a pre-settlement inspection and then book another time that afternoon to do the handover. Usually I make mine about 15 to 30 minutes after settlement time just to allow in case the settlement's been pushed back or in case it's delayed. And then if it has been pushed back, you've got time to let the buyer know, hey, we can't meet at 2:30 now, we've got to meet at 4. Every agent, again, will be different, but sometimes the buyer needs to move in straight away, so they've got their truck parked outside and you've just got to sit and be patient and do your job as an agent and wait to give them that access to get in. So that was just really an overview. Like, there are probably things that I've missed out because I was doing this straight off the cuff, but that would give you like at least some idea of the process from the beginning to end. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward these days, but you know, just thought I'd let you have a little bit of a hear about my thoughts on that. So if you're looking to sell or buy, now you've got a little bit of information. Anyway, I hope everyone is ready for next week. I'm going to do something more about beliefs next week, so that one's going to be really cool. So tune in, stay tuned. I hope you had a great week. I hope you have a great week next week. Enjoy your week. And I'll see you soon. I'm Sarah Schultz. This was Sunday session 6. Bye.